Gold has long been more than a commodity. It's a symbol of wealth, power, and security. From central bank vaults to private collections, gold holds strategic importance in the modern world that goes far beyond jewelry or investment portfolios. It can also be used as an anonymous, universal currency, a useful feature for a country that hopes to evade sanctions. In a story that feels torn from the pages of a Cold War thriller, Africa's gold mines have become a battleground in the geopolitical chessboard, with Russia exerting influence and control through a network of mercenaries and proxies. At least a quarter of Africa's gold is now mired in the conflict, and the impact on global gold supply chains is only beginning. Before we begin, please support our channel by hitting that subscribe button. If you're looking for the untold stories about precious metals, this channel is for you. Thank you. In 2023, the world produced roughly 3,500 tons of gold. Africa accounted for about 1,000 tons, making it a vital hub for global gold supply. For comparison, the United States produced only 166 tons last year, a fraction of Africa's output. Among Africa's gold-rich regions is the Sahel, where countries like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso collectively produce over 200 tons annually. These countries, once friendly to Western nations, have begun to unravel relationships and agreements spanning decades. Earlier this month, the government of Mali seized 3 tons of gold from Barrick Gold Corporation, one of the world's largest gold mining companies, and issued an arrest warrant for its CEO, on pretense. This Canadian mining company also had 4 of its employees arrested. We use the word arrested lightly. It appears they were taken hostage by the military junta, with no charges announced. Their captivity is being used as a bargaining chip by the government in Mali to increase their share of revenues from Barrick's mining operations. This story in Mali is not particularly unique. Since 2020, several coups have occurred in the mineral-rich Sahel region of Africa, upending long-standing norms and shifting the balance of power. These coups were supported by the Wagner Group and, by extension, Russia. Once the previous government was overthrown, Wagner Group installed itself as a security force within the country, becoming a permanent fixture. The Wagner Group has gained notoriety as a paramilitary organization acting on behalf of Russian interests. While originally functioning as a semi-autonomous mercenary outfit, Wagner fell under Kremlin control after the death of its founder, Yevgeny Prigozhin, in 2023. Prigozhin's demise came shortly after an attempted mutiny against Vladimir Putin, a move that solidified the Kremlin's control over the group. Today, Wagner operates as a direct extension of Russian geopolitical ambitions. The U.S. Departments of State, the Treasury, Commerce, Homeland Security, Labor, and the United States Agency for International Development issued an advisory in 2023 regarding African gold. In it, they explicitly referred to the Wagner Group as a key threat. To demonstrate the scale of the Wagner Group's influence, we'll paraphrase a key excerpt from the advisory. While these conditions have been well known and extensively documented for many years in certain regions, such as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, newer risks in areas such as Sudan, the Central African Republic, Mali, and elsewhere in connection with the Wagner Group have made clear the need for this advisory. The US government is committed to addressing the relationship between gold and the illicit revenue streams that contribute to and fund conflicts, corruption, and other concerns in sub-Saharan Africa. In this advisory, the U.S. warns against groups targeting gold mines to finance terror organizations and evade sanctions, among other unsavory purposes. The Wagner Group's influence in Africa is far-reaching, with gold at its center. Once Wagner establishes itself inside a country, it sets up shell companies to operate freely. One example is Midas Resources, which runs gold mines in the Central African Republic. These mines are part of a broader strategy to convert African gold into a lifeline for Russia's economy, which has been battered by Western sanctions. Russia has perfected its strategy in Africa, Through Wagner, Russia finds dissidents and nations battered by Islamist insurgents and support the military in a hostile rearrangement of government. Once the new government is installed and Wagner is firmly in place, they begin setting up shell companies to extract resources for Russian use, dismantling Western systems and companies in the process. Then, when the timing is right, Russia steps out of the shadows and creates official diplomatic ties between nations. Wagner is already operating in the Central African Republic, yet on January 20th it was reported that delegates from the CAR traveled to Moscow to discuss a formal arrangement with the Kremlin. Russia is offering security guarantees in exchange for economic partnerships. Sounds suspicious, as the CAR is one of the poorest African nations and has less than $6 million in trade with Russia. There are small businesses in America that do more than that. A nation like Russia would never waste their time on a country with so little trade, unless they want the untapped natural resources in the Central African Republic. This strategy of shadow imperialism has been repeated across the sub-Saharan region of Africa. In some countries like Burkina Faso, there is an additional step. Burkina Faso is the 13th largest gold producer in the world, producing about $6 billion in gold each year. However, they sold the mining rights as licenses to Western companies years ago. This agreement worked for many years. When the resources were prospected, the expertise, infrastructure, and machinery were out of reach for these nations. Companies entered and built the mines, giving a share back to the host nation in the form of taxes. After the coup in Burkina Faso, the new government is nationalizing the mines, allegedly taking them back for the people. Of course, this is just a political stunt. The Wagner Group exists officially inside Burkina Faso, rebranded as the Africa Corps and under the direct control of Russia. If your politicians are guarded by Russian mercenaries, what are the odds that nationalization of gold mines will result in more gold going to the people? If there was ever any doubt about the true purpose behind nationalizing gold mines, recent history makes it clear what is really at stake. In Burkina Faso, the Wagner Group assisted in the 2022 coup. According to reports, they were paid by the military junta with the rights to a mine in exchange for their assistance. No matter what path you take, it's clear that natural resources in Africa are Russia's target, and they are willing to overthrow governments to obtain it. These actions have disrupted alliances like ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, and fractured regional stability. In their place, new pro-Russian blocs have emerged, aligned not by ideology, but by the pursuit of gold and security guarantees. For Russia, this proxy war is about more than just the gold. It's about undermining Western influence while creating an alternative economic pathway. By stockpiling gold, Russia reduces its reliance on US dollars, sidesteps sanctions, and shields its economy from external pressures. The story of African gold mines under Wagner's control highlights a broader truth. Resources as valuable as gold will always be targets. From Islamist insurgents to state actors like Russia, the battle for control will persist. While the average investor can't influence these conflicts, they can make choices about where their gold comes from. Ethical sourcing has become a priority for organizations like the London Bullion Market Association, whose certified refiners adhere to strict, responsible gold guidance rules. Reputable national mints such as the US Mint and the Royal Canadian Mint offer conflict-free certifications for their products. Ensuring your gold is sourced ethically is a small but significant way to support fair practices in the industry. The geopolitics of gold underscore its strategic importance in today's world. Russia's actions in Africa demonstrate the lengths nations will go to secure this resource. For investors, it's a reminder to stay informed and vigilant, ensuring their investments align with both their financial goals and their values. That's all we have for you today. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.